Belgium is packed with charm. From medieval towns to modern art scenes, it's a hidden gem in Europe. Here are some top tourist attractions by region to get us started. Flanders, northern Belgium. 1. Bruges. Brugge highlights. Belfry of Bruges, marked square, canals, chocolate shops, Groningen Museum. Vibe. Fairy tale medieval town with cobblestone streets and romantic canals. Tip: take a canal boat ride at sunset. It's magical. 2. Ghent. Highlights: Gravenstein Castle, St. Bavo's Cathedral, home to the Ghent altarpiece. Vibrant student vibe. Less touristy than Bruges, but just as historic, with a hip edge. 3. Antwerp. Highlights: Cathedral of Our Lady, Museum on Destro Maas Diamond District, fashion scene. Vibe: trendy meets historic. Art, diamonds, and shopping galore. Brussels, capital region. 1. Grand Place. UNESCO site with ornate guildhalls. Amazing day or night. 2. Atomium. A giant silver atom built for the 1958 World Expo. You can go inside. 3. Royal Palace and Parc de Bruxelles. Formal gardens, regal architecture, and changing of the guard. 4. Comic book route. Murals of Tintin, Lucky Luke, and other Belgian comic heroes across the city. Wallonia, southern Belgium. 1. Dinant highlights. Clifftop Citadel, Saxophone Museum. Adolphe Sax was born here. River cruises on the Meuse. Vibe: small dramatic town set against a cliff. 2. Namur. Home to the impressive citadel of Namur, and a great base for exploring Wallonia. 3. Ardennes Forest. Ideal for hiking, biking, and charming countryside villages like La Roche-en-Ardennes and Bouillon. Other experiences you can't miss. Beer tasting. Try a Trappist beer at a real abbey, for example, Westfalen or Chimay. Chocolate tours. Visit chocolatiers like Neuhaus Leonidas or small artisan shops. Battlefield tours. Visit Ypres and Waterloo for WWI and Napoleonic history. Art, architecture and museums. Royal Museums of Fine Arts, Brussels. Houses works from Flemish masters like Bruegel, Rubens and Met. Louvain, a modern museum dedicated to the creator of Tintin. Beautiful design and storytelling. Horta Museum, Brussels. Art Nouveau masterpiece. Former house of architect Victor Horta. Tournai Cathedral. A massive Romanesque Gothic cathedral with UNESCO status and a stunning view from the tower. Hidden gems and unique experiences. Hallerbos, the Blue Forest. Surreal and fairy. Hanser-les Caves, Wallonia. A natural limestone cave complex with underground rivers and prehistoric vibes. Aldenbesen Castle, built in grand 16th century castle, often missed by tourists. Hosts light shows and medieval fairs. Cheese Caves of Herve. If you're a foodie, the Herve region is known for strong cheeses aged in natural cellars. Spa. Yes, the origin of the word spa. Natural springs, wellness resorts, and thermal baths. Mons, European Capital of Culture in 2015. Great blend of art, tech, and Baroque architecture. Quirky and fun. Train World Schaerbeek, near Brussels. Surprisingly cool museum built inside an old station, full of vintage trains and immersive exhibits. Friet Museum, a whole museum dedicated to Belgian fries. You get to eat some too, of course. The Haunted Castle of La Roche-en-Ardennes, a spooky medieval castle with ghost stories and scenic views. Nature Lovers Picks. RAVEL routes, network of old railway lines converted into cycling and walking paths, especially scenic in Wallonia. High Fens Eiffel Nature Park. Belgium's highest point, Signal de Beautrange, is here. Think misty moors and wooden boardwalks. Castles galore. Belgium has over 3,000. Chateau de Boyan, massive medieval fortress with panoramic views, dungeons, and falconry shows. Chateau de Motivy, perched on a rock, beautifully furnished inside. Feels like a French Loire Valley castle. Chateau de Vaves, a fairy tale castle near Dinant with pointed towers. Looks straight out of a Disney movie. Gothic Castle near Brussels. Art-filled romantic gardens, and a super photogenic spot just outside the capital. Stunning Gothic Upper Chapel. Basilica of Kokelberg, Brussels. One of the largest churches in the world, with panoramic views from the dome. Orval Abbey. Beautiful ruins mixed with an active Trappist monastery. Also, they brew one of Belgium's best beers. Weird and Wonderful Museums. Museum of the Strawberry. Yes, a whole museum for strawberries. Is Belgium's strawberry capital. Douce Van Soap Museum Spa. Interactive and fragrant, explores centuries of soap making in the city of Spa. Museum of Lace Brussels or Bruges. Showcases the art of lace making, which was once one of Belgium's biggest exports. Mundani, a proto-Google from the 20th century. Archives and card catalogs from a time before the internet. Incredible views and lookouts. Signal de Boutrange, 694 meters, the highest point in Belgium. Climb the stairway to nothing to go even higher. Rochehout Viewpoint overlooks the meandering Semois River, one of the best photo ops in Wallonia. Viaduct of Cou, dramatic railway bridge with waterfalls nearby and fun adventure activities. Markets and seasonal events. Winter Wonders, Brussels Christmas Market. Ice skating, glowing, crafts, lights, spreads from grand place to place. Tongeren Antiques Market every Sunday. Belgium's oldest town hosts one of Europe's biggest weekly antique fairs. Gensfeest Ghent Festival in July. Massive citywide celebration of music, theater, street food, and culture. Along the Meuse River, pure storybook scenery. Brussels to Bruges, quick and scenic. You're in a fairy tale town in just 1 hour. Small towns with big character. Thoen, home to hanging gardens, a medieval belfry UNESCO, and river cruises. Super peaceful and romantic. Lier, nicknamed Little Bruges with canals, a Zimmer clock tower, astronomical clock, and a beautiful beguinage. Aarschot, artistic vibes, Gothic churches, and part of the Demer Valley cycling route, full of hidden art and nature spots. Industrial chic and urban renewal spots. Grand Hornu Mons area, UNESCO site, a former coal mine turned design museum and art center. Think steampunk meets sleek galleries. Simi Mine, Genk, interactive mining museum, and creative hub, cool architecture, exhibitions, and even a maze under the ground. Bartcom District, old warehouses turned into trendy co-working spaces, and breweries along the canal. Folklore and strange traditions. Gala of Binch Carnival of Binch, UNESCO-listed festival with masked figures and giant ostrich feather hats throwing oranges into the crowd. Dudu Festival Mons, medieval-style battle between St. George and a dragon in the town square. Procession of the Penitents Ferns, Vern, haunting Good Friday ritual where people walk barefoot in hoods. Very historic, very unique. Nature escapes you might. Misk Ninglandspo Trail Ardennes, waterfalls, mossy rocks, and little wooden bridges. Belgium's most wild hike. Fondry Day, Chensv, a natural limestone canyon. Feels like a mini Grand Canyon in the middle of a quiet forest. Less river kayaking. Paddle through forests and past castles like Chateau de Walzen. You can even stop for a riverside beer. Culture cool hangouts. Le Pain Quotidien original in Brussels. Now worldwide, this cozy chain began in Belgium. Go to the OG one and excels. Delirium Brussels, world record holder for most beers on the menu. Over 2,000. Bar du Matin Forest, Brussels. DJ sets, Sunday brunch, cocktails and espresso. True local vibe. Fun-themed routes. Beer and bike tours Flanders. Ride between abbeys like Westmalle-Akel and Grimberg. Tasting required. Castles of Wallonia cycling route. Takes you through hidden chateaux, forests, and river valleys. Legends Trail, a long-distance hike through forests, rivers, and mystical spots in the Semois Valley. Secret views and scenic overlooks. Panorama de Frahan near Rochehout, jaw-dropping viewpoint over the Semois River and Frahan village in a perfect horseshoe bend. Crates de Spa, Forest Ridge walk with sweeping views of the Spa Valley and endless pine trees. Terrell du 231 Charleroi, climb an old slag heap, for gritty views over Belgium's industrial heartland. Urban nature meets post-apocalyptic cool, bizarre, beautiful, and spiritual. St. Anna Tunnel Antwerp. Walk or cycle under the Scheldt River via this 1930s wooden escalator tunnel. Retro and weirdly photogenic. Church of St. John the Baptist Namur, a Baroque beauty with a unique dome and dramatic interiors. Often overlooked. Le Pedier, Abbey, former monastery turned into a cultural center. Silent, serene, surrounded by nature. Hidden breweries with atmosphere. Brewerage DHF Mon Bruges, has an underground beer pipeline. Super atmospheric with great rooftop bar views. Brewerage Caracol, Fulming, they still use wood-fired kettles. Tiny, charming, and full of character. Brasserie à Vapeur Pipix, steam-powered brewery with wild brewing days open to the public once a month. Strange and niche museums. Museum of Fantastic Art, Brussels. Creepy, surreal, and full of weird taxidermy and odd inventions. Great if you like the strange and offbeat. Train car museums. Rare and restored train wagons in a quiet little town near Mons. Pure vintage travel nostalgia. Museum of Horse-Drawn Carriages, Sintny Claus full of Cinderella-style carriages and sleighs. Super random but fun. Rural escapes with personality. Pays des Collines Wallonia, rolling hills, local folklore, werewolves, witches and artsy villages, like Ella's Galm region, Belgium's Provence, milder weather, vineyards and sleepy stone villages like Torgny, cheese farm stays. Spend the night on a working cheese farm in Herve or Chimay, and eat like royalty. Quirky local events. Festival of the Giants Ath. Giant Puppet Parade. Some over 10 meters tall, feels like stepping into a fairy tale. Vampire Walk sells, around Halloween. Locals dress up the whole town with haunted trails and real-life monsters in the woods. Fairy Nights La Hulpe Castle Gardens. Nighttime light and music show where the whole garden turns into an enchanted forest. Undiscovered natural wonders. Bois de Hall, not just for bluebells. Visit off-season for a silent, misty forest with wild deer and haunting beauty. Rocho Falcons is Eagle's Nest of Belgium. Rocky outcrop over a river bend, ideal for hiking or drone shots. Valley of the Hound, lush moss-covered forests with wild rivers, wooden footbridges, and waterfalls. Pure magic. Time traveler towns and ancient history. Tongeren, Belgium's oldest city, with a top-notch Galorman museum, ancient ruins, and a legendary antiques market every Sunday. Abish is a reconstructed Roman Gaul village archaeosite, where you can walk through temples, villas, and blacksmith shops from 2,000 years ago. Villiers-la-Ville Abbey, Gothic monastery ruins that turn golden in the late afternoon light. Open-air concerts and light shows make it even more magical. Tiny villages in dreamy settings. Chassepierre Storybook Village, by the Semois River, known for its annual street art festival International des Arts de la Rue. Seysoe Valley, quaint village tucked between rolling hills and ruined abbeys. Rent a Draisine rail bike and pedal an old railway line. Krupet, sleepy village with a castle moat combo, a cave shrine, and stone houses from the Middle Ages. Unusual train stops worth getting off. 4. Ron's old textile town now full of Art Deco buildings, secret gardens, and fashion history. Arscott, hidden between Leuven and Diest, great hiking trails and a romantic riverside promenade. Popering near Ypres, known for hops and a hop museum, as well as the somber WWI execution post. Powerful history. Nighttime magic, glow-in-the-dark bike path, Eindhoven style, in Limburg. Inspired by Van Gogh's Starry Night, the stones glow with phosphorescent powder. So cool, and completely unique. Summer Nuits de Feu No More Citadel. Massive international fireworks and pyrotechnics festival in an ancient fortress. Boom. Candlelit town walks, Rochefort-Bouillon, towns that go full medieval, only lit by torches and candles for one evening per year. Regional foods you've never heard of but should try. Liers-Vijk, small spice tart from Lier, only made by a handful of bakers. Fromage de Herve, wash-trined cheese so strong it's banned from some trains. Legendary. Waterzooi, Ghent's famous creamy stew. Fish or chicken, always soul-warming. Peket and Ballet's Walloon gin plus meatballs combo found in surprisingly satisfying. Nature for the soul. Baroque Michel and Venbin Trail. Belgian highlands with wooden plank trails through wide, misty moors. Is this Scotland? Nope, it's Wallonia. Col d'Huissier, Belgium's steepest hill for cyclists, near La Roche. Killer views, and a brag if you bike it. Forest of Anlier, enchanted oak forest with rare birds and ancient legends, perfect for slow hiking and foraging. Living legends and eccentric festivals. Omegang Brussels, July, reenacts Charles V's grand 1549 parade, with horses, jesters, knights, and nobles in the grand place. Macrails Festival Vielsom, July. Think Witch Sabbath in the Ardennes, where the Macrails witches cast spells and perform theater in the woods. Ross Bayard Parade Dendermonde, every 10 years. Gigantic wooden horse carried by men. Part mythology, part muscle, totally epic.